Good morning and welcome to the RYA's AGM. Thank you for joining us today, whether in person or virtually. It is now my pleasure to hand over to the RYA President, Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal, who will formally open and chair today's meeting. Your Royal Highness.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hugely impressed with this turnout. Thank you so much for joining us. And there's many of you come a very long way. Thank you for your continued support at all levels, including this one. Formally, the notice convening this meeting was printed on page 4 of the annual report and accounts for the year ended 31st of March 2023 and can be taken as read. But so I would now like to call the meeting to order and invite Sarah Sutcliffe, Chief Executive, to brief attendees on procedure.
Thank you, ma'am. Could I please request that all personal members and those representing affiliated clubs and classes raise their hands? Thank you. I can confirm that with the addition of those who nominated the chair of the meeting to be their representative online, the meeting is quorate. Before we run through the agenda, I would like to remind those attending online that questions can be submitted by emailing agm@rya.org.uk, but due to timing constraints, those will be responded to after the AGM. This is your association and your AGM, and I would like to thank our members for their questions ahead of this meeting and for your advance voting. Participants are advised that the meeting is being broadcast live and that a recording will be available via the RYA website and the RYA YouTube channel. Members were able to vote online from the 18th of October to the 9th of November. All votes have been counted by UK Engage, our independent verifiers, and I will announce the results of the voting of each motion as the AGM proceeds. As we move through the resolutions, if you wish to speak, please hold up your hand and wait for a member of staff to bring you a microphone. If you are a personal member, please state your name clearly before asking your question, and please state the name of your club or class association if you are representing that affiliate. Ma'am.
Thank you. So the first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the 2022 AGM, which were circulated in the spring 2023 edition of the RYA magazine. Begs the question, can you remember where you put it? No formal motion to adopt the minutes is required, but this is an opportunity for anyone to ask a question. And if anyone wishes to do so, please state your name or your club or class association. Firstly, I'd like to ask if any members present in the theatre would like to ask a question. Thank you very much. If there are no questions, sorry, would you like to give the results?
Certainly. Thank you, ma'am. I can report that over 99% of the members voted to approve the minutes. So I'd like to ask Her Royal Highness, who chaired last year's meeting, to sign the official copy of the minutes.
Very good. Better maybe do that with a proper pen, hadn't you? Yep. Very good. Item 2 is to receive the report of the board. So may I invite the RYA chair for his formal report.
Thank you, ma'am. As chair of your association, I'm pleased to report on an exciting year for the RYA, in which we made progress in many areas. Most importantly, after considerable internal and stakeholder consultation, we finalised our new strategy, Together on Water, which sets out our priorities and objectives for the association. This was a break from the previous process of 4-year strategies following the Olympic cycle that has allowed us to think longer term and review the needs of our members and participants in boating in the context of changing expectations of society. The strategy has been driven by Sarah and the executive management team, and we referred to in more detail by Sarah in her address. The key themes of inclusivity and a safe environment for boating, both at a personal and environmental level, have been supported by refreshed branding. The first for many years. This is designed to demonstrate and reinforce our wish to be transparent, open, and welcoming to all our stakeholders and indeed anyone who interacts with the RYA. Our confidence in the future is reinforced by a strong financial position, which has fully recovered from the impact of COVID, giving us the confidence to invest where required, including, if possible with external funding, planning a new Performance and Innovation Centre at Portland. This is designed to support the British sailing team's leading position in the Olympics, which is challenged both by the investment other country teams are making and by the new disciplines in sailing. We're encouraged, however, by the success of our female athletes at the Formula Kite, which gave a chance to showcase the sport in a community context at Southsea in September this year. We have also been pleased by a healthy growth in membership, now almost back at pre-COVID levels. This probably reflects increased participation and also recognition of the RYA's role in achieving a quick return to boating following the lockdowns. Our lobbying has also been effective in the small watercraft order implemented this year, which contained necessary legislation to avoid irresponsible behaviour while avoiding compulsory registration. RYA training, following its 50th anniversary year, has continued to deliver world-leading courses with many schools fully booked for this season. Lastly, we have welcomed a full resumption of sailability activities, which have been severely reduced by COVID. Significant challenges remain. Government funding is at best stable in nominal terms at a time of high inflation, meaning we have to achieve more with less. We now have good gender balance in our board and committees without insisting on quotas. Both female and minority participation is rising, but only slowly. Increasingly, we are aware of the environmental challenge for our waterways, whether through protecting natural habitats or the results of inadequate investments by water companies in managing effluents. And lastly, we must continue progress on upgrading our systems to digitally enable our operations and deliver a seamless service to our stakeholders. None of this will be possible without the continued selfless commitment of volunteers. I would like to thank all our members and volunteers who contribute to making our sport accessible, enjoyable, and safe for all participants, and also our partners and stakeholders such as UK Sport, Sport England, the RNLI and British Marine for their support and cooperation. I would like to thank the executive team and all the staff for their commitment and enthusiasm for the RYA. And finally, I have a personal and heartfelt thanks to all members of the board for their time and contributions. The board was strengthened by the appointment in March of Polly Hanford, Head of Legal for the FA, who brings very relevant experience in safeguarding, and will be reinforced by whichever of the new non-executive directors has been elected by the members today, and by my successor, Sir Michael Arthur, who is extremely well qualified and with whom it has been a pleasure to work in the handover. I have been privileged to work with a great team over the last 5.5 years, from whom I have learned much, and I'm deeply grateful to the board and members for the trust placed in appointing me as chairman. Thank you. And lastly, I would like to recognise and thank Her Royal Highness for her continued support and guidance, which is valued enormously by all our members. Thank you, ma'am. That concludes my address.
Chairman, thank you, and thank you for those kind words. But I would like to recognise your huge contribution that you fitted in all of those things in your time. And I don't know that anybody knows quite how much more extra time they are going to have to give when you volunteer at any level. It seems to just keep on going up, so thank you. Now, moving on to, can I ask CEO Sarah Sutcliffe to her formal report?
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to begin by extending my personal thanks to Chris as he concludes his tenure as RYA Chair. His long-standing devotion to our sport is plain to see. He's been a passionate advocate for ensuring that boating is safe and accessible to all, a vocal champion for the importance of volunteers, and has been committed to strengthening diversity and inclusion, as well as the development of sustainable practices. Chris's dedication, expertise, wise counsel, and humour helped steer the RYA through the turbulent years of the pandemic and ensured we emerged from it as robustly as we did and ready for what lay beyond. So from all of us, Chris, thank you. I've now had the pleasure of serving as Chief Executive for over 18 months, and what a pleasure it is to lead our network of members, staff, volunteers, clubs, classes, recognised training centres and participants up and down the country. We are all joined by a common thread of a passion for the water and in wanting to share that joy and knowledge with others. I greatly value spending time visiting clubs, centres, development projects, events, boat shows, conferences, and taking the time to speak with and listen to members and connect with our colleagues across the marine sector. I enjoy hearing about their many successes, but equally as important, hearing about the challenges they face. It's against the backdrop of these conversations and wider sector research that we proudly launched our Together on Water strategy earlier this year. Our long-term vision for the future aims to create a more connected, inspired and inclusive sailing and boating community, and sets out how we will work in partnership to connect more people than ever with everything the water has to offer. We've come such a long way in our soon-to-be 150-year history, but there is so much to celebrate across the various sports and activities we represent, and we should be rightly proud of the shared heritage, history, and collective hard work which has brought us to where we are today. But we must not stand still. It is vital that we are prepared to evolve, so we remain a strong, representative voice, relevant to society, agile to innovations and changes in boating, water sports, and the leisure sector. We can work in representing, supporting, and lobbying for the interests and freedoms that matter most to our members and the changing tides of societal needs and expectations. You care, as we do, that the activities we love should be accessible to all. The water belongs to all of us, and everyone deserves the opportunity to enjoy being on the water and to do so in a safe environment, both in terms of physical and technical safety, but also in creating inclusive cultures. Everyone should be able to find their place in our precious blue spaces and feel that they truly belong. To this end, we've taken the opportunity to undertake a proactive and independent review of our safeguarding culture, processes, and procedures this year. We are now putting in place the appropriate changes to ensure we are truly putting the welfare of our participants and the workforce at the heart of everything we do. The power of a renewed purpose-driven approach was at the forefront in September's Formula Kite European Championships, which the RYA was proud to host in Portsmouth, in partnership with the City Council, the International Kiteboarding Association, UK Sport, and with the support of the National Lottery. Our vision for the regatta was not just about showcasing high-performance racing, as important as that is as a new and exciting Olympic discipline, but also to use the event to connect with youth communities in Portsmouth through inspiration and a passion for the marine environment on their doorstep. The event's social impact programme engaged with almost 400 local school children, many of whom came from Portsmouth's most challenging wards and many of whom do not go to the beach. We introduced them to STEM experiments, environmental sessions, and beach cleans, as well as the opportunity to try windsurfing, kite flying, and building their confidence with water. The team and teachers alike saw the incredible change in the children taking part, and this is exactly what Together on Water seeks to achieve: breaking down barriers and perceptions around sailing and boating. opening ourselves up to new audiences and working with partners to showcase the positive impact water sports can have across our communities. Together on Water is not a quick fix approach, but we are determined to rise to the challenge. And as the name suggests, we need you to do this together. We need you, our members, and dedicated affiliates to help bring this to life. Collectively, we will do this together. In future generations to come, we never want to hear someone say, voting is not for people like me. Thank you for all your continued support, and thank you, ma'am. That concludes my address.
Thank you, Sarah. Broadening the horizons is always a key component of what happens in the RYA, and it's you've been hard at work on that front. Really nice to see. Now, can I ask David Cox from Hayes McIntyre to give the auditor's report, please? You're over there.
Thank you, ma'am. Dave told me earlier this week that we have a bumper crop of awards this year, and I can certainly see that in the room. So I took the hint, and I'll keep this very short and sweet. So instead of reading my 2-page report in very small font, I'm just pleased to say that I've issued, on behalf of my firm, Hayes McIntyre, an unqualified audit opinion, so essentially a clean report on the 2023 financial statements. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I have a seconder from the floor? To clearly state their name, or is it?
I think
later.
Dave
you?
Strain gives his report first.
Where is he?
There he comes.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everybody, again. During the year ended 31st March 2023, our income continued to recover to pre-pandemic levels. We sold a record number of training certificates. Income from e-learning and e-books continued to rise, whilst income from key qualifications such as the short range certificate or the SRC also went in a very positive direction. We received almost £500,000 against a business interruption claim from our insurers that was noted as a contingent asset in the previous year's annual accounts. We did, however, invest heavily in developing our new strategy and our refreshed brand, as well as making continued investments into our website and social media development. We're extremely grateful to receive a donation from the John Merrick's Sailing Trust as they wound up their activities. I'm very pleased to say that the board agreed to make a significant contribution to the RYA Foundation to augment this donation to create a new youth fund to support young sailors under the age of 25. We ended the year with an operating surplus of just under £120,000, and after taking account of investment income, taxation, property valuations and the pension scheme adjustments, this reduced to just over a £70,000 retained surplus. Therefore, members' funds grew by that amount to 7.75 million, meaning that we began the year in an extremely positive financial position with a strong balance sheet, including cash balances in the region of £5 million. Your board feel that we are in a fantastic position to embed a new strategy together on water and to make the most of the opportunities that we can currently see for sailing and boating in the future. We have many opportunities ahead with worldwide and domestic political and economic instability, but with an extremely strong and stable board and a new chair, as well as your continued support, we do look forward to grasping the opportunities that lay ahead. Thank you. Ma'am, that concludes my report. No questions on the accounts were submitted by members in advance, so I turn to the floor for questions. If there aren't any questions, we can move on. Chris, I believe that sufficient votes were cast in favour in advance for the accounts to be formally approved.
Do we need a seconder?
Yeah, we asked for a second from the
Yeah,
floor.
you proposed. So we have a seconder, please, from the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I can therefore report that in excess of 99% voted in favour, and the accounts for 2022-2023 are therefore formally approved.
Thank you. Would you like to continue with item
Yes, I
3?
will. Item 3 is to elect the president for the next year. There is only one candidate for the presidency, Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal. And we're very grateful that Her Royal Highness has expressed her willingness to continue to serve in office. I would therefore like to propose that the motion be adopted and would ask for a seconder from the floor who should clearly state their name. Thank you.
I'm from Anderson Centre. Anderson Centre. So I'm very second.
Thank you. I'm therefore delighted to report the motion has been carried with acclaim.
Thank you. There is a gap in this system. You could actually find somebody else, but I'm not careful. I just keep going until somebody quibbles, because it's fun. Thank you. Moving on. We've done that stage, I think.
Yes, item 4.
So we're, yes, I knew those were out of order. There you go. To appoint the auditor for the coming year and to delegate authority to the board to fix their remuneration.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, over 99% of the votes recorded in advance were in favour, so I can therefore confirm that Hayes McIntyre LLP have been reappointed for the year 2023-2024 with remuneration to be decided by the board.
Thank you. And item 5, meeting to note the new chair appointed by the board, and I pass particular thanks at the beginning of this to the committee members who retired this year, noting with thanks the amount of time that they have given over the years to the RYA. I'm sure it won't stop here, but this is a particular issue that we would like to thank them for. And Clive Grant from the Training Committee, Louise Halliwell from North West, Doug McEwen from the East, Mike Samuelson, South, Bernard Seeley, London and South East, and Stephen Tinsley, Midlands. This is a huge thank you on behalf of all the RYA for your extra commitment for service on the committees. So thank you so much. But I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the chair, Chris Preston. I know he's retiring from the chair at this point, but he's been involved with the RYA for a very long time, and I don't think he gives that up very quickly. But I think we underestimated our peril, what the importance of the role of the chair, particularly in this period, which has included the pandemic, where everything was different. You all remained very flexible and ready to change the way you worked, and you were very keen to keep going with what you did. And Chris was very much at the centre of that in our ability to adapt and keep the whole organisation going and progressing in the most remarkable way. So an extra thanks from me, Chris, for keeping me so well informed during that time. But I have to admit, I grew out of online video conferencing quite quickly. But I think it has its place, and you certainly learnt how to use it to its best in relationship to what you needed it for. So thank you for your leadership in that, particularly in that context, but just generally for volunteering to be chair. And may I also take this opportunity to welcome the new chair, Professor Sir Michael Arthur, who of course will take up post following this AGM. I'm delighted to welcome him here, and I'm equally because we'd met before, but we'd never really discussed sailing as in this context. There's always something else to talk about. So I'm delighted that he has a very important other life, which includes the RYA. So thank you for taking this on. You're very welcome. Moving on to item 6, special business to elect one new nominated director to the board. So the details of those two candidates have been sent to members and published. Sarah?
Thank you, ma'am. It is my pleasure to report that with 55% of the votes cast, Pip Woods has been successfully elected to the board. Our congratulations to Pip, and our thanks to Tony Hockley as well for being the other candidate.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to hear that quite a few people put their names forward, and that's an enormous encouragement, frankly, this part of the RYA, to know that so many people want to be involved. We're really grateful for them standing, and congratulations to Pip. Thank you for making that effort. Item 7 is to note that the awards ceremony will, of course, follow the AGM, and I think the Chair is going to report on the volunteer awards presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm pleased to report that we've been able to invite a record number of award recipients to celebrate all together with us here today. Having considered all the nominations, the awards panel agreed to confer the following: 77 community awards, the Francis Elkin Award for Services to RYA Saleability, the Honor Preston Award for Services to Inclusivity in Voting, 1 regional award and 1 honorary life membership. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8, of course, is any other business. Strictly speaking, there can be no other business as any resolution requires that 14 days notice. And without a resolution before the meeting, the debate is out of order. However, there is a long tradition of having this item on the agenda, and it does give members a chance to air their views. And anything which cannot be dealt with at the time, i.e. here, will be addressed after the meeting and will potentially be answered at a later issue of the RYA magazine. Any attending members who have any questions? There's one down here. And one right there.
Good morning, Your Royal Highness, Chair and Chief Executive. I am a very long-standing member of the RYA, personal member since about the age of 20. I've been on the sailing committee of London Corinthian Sailing Club, Datchet, Ranelagh Sailing Club in a minor capacity. I've also been a dinghy instructor. I applaud the RYA's long-standing and now renewed direction of inclusivity, but I have some words of warning. One of the issues that has come up very strongly in major sports, athletics, rugby, and cycling. I see a lady nodding next to me. I think she knows what I'm going to bring up. The question that I wish to raise with the board of the RYA is that they really do need to reconsider their trans and non-binary inclusion in sailing and boating report. This is insufficient. There are many issues that need to be considered, in particular, the protected characteristic of sex in the Equality Act 2010, and how this interacts with the other protected characteristic of gender reassignment, also in the Equality Act. Can I please bring to this Assembly's notice that this is going to be a very major issue at the Olympics, and it has nothing to do with disorders of sexual development. Thank you, Your Royal Highness.
So would you?
It's less of a question, more of a statement. Yeah.
Can you please address this? This document is not sufficient. It's written by activists.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to make a very brief statement. As you note, this is a very live and emotive issue. We are taking a lot of legal and scientific advice, ensuring that we create a policy, and we are also working with World Sailing to ensure that we are aligned.
I know. And
You may.
there was another question back here, and one at the back now. Could you keep your hand up there?
It's a long well here. I'm really interested in the last question about diversity. But this time, I want to focus on poorer people in sailing. And we struggle with this at club level. By the way, my name's Laurie Elliott, and I'm at Crammon Boat Club, Edinburgh. I'm an RYA instructor as well. We struggle with this because kids, especially kids from poorer areas, need a whole lot more than just a one-day sail. And they need kit, and they need probably actually transport to get to the sailing club in the first place. So my question is, how is the RYA at a strategical level addressing this? And also at a practical level, perhaps financially as well, for clubs like ourselves who want to do a lot more in that area. But I'll put it this way, we see a lot of kids, really poor kids walking past our club every day. And it might as well be in a foreign land as far as they're concerned, because we don't get them in the door. It's very difficult for us to do that. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Addressing accessibility at every level, including from the poorest parts of the country and with children in particular, is very much part of what we will be trying to address through Together on Water. You highlight a very good point in that transport is often one of the barriers. And there is some very good work being done in pockets around the country. And what we want to do is help monitor and evaluate what's working and see what can be scaled up and how do we share the best advice that we are learning from around the country. It is an incredibly valid point. It is an absolute barrier to a large part of the country. And we're going to work to try and address it.
I'm getting into trouble here because in some respects, the individual clubs are the best judges of how to do that. And you may all have slightly different ways to do that. There was a rugby club in Worcestershire who went for the option of leaving vouchers for a full English breakfast in the car park during COVID. It was very popular. But something like that will attract youngsters just to come in the door. Maybe the answer to part of the problem is just something that you could just say, well, just come in and spend a bit of time here. Sorry, I'm rather going off piece. Yeah. Not allowed.
Am I allowed another question? Could, in terms of evidence, could the RYA establish maybe pilot sites throughout the country? And these pilot sites be evaluated in relation to, do they work, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer?
Yes.
Yeah, there are a number of pilot sites around the country. We are testing, investing in to see it works, doing everything we can on that. So another good idea, and it is happening.
Mm. And Sailability had the same issues when it first started. So it started with those pilot programs because people were not sure how to do it. Quite right. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, there's another question, Matt.
Thank you, ma'am. Simon Mitchell, personal member for many years. In the annual report and accounts, the Chief Executive's strategic report, Business Review, the opening paragraph reflects on how we can best use our position and our brand to market boating activities to new, wider audiences. I'd just like to think about that brand for a moment. The brand is recognised throughout the world, and all associated clubs and organisations incorporate what has been a very successful blue and red RYA logo with a unique and distinctive stylised font. It was surprising to learn that the RYA had decided to go for a new logo. Now, I have no personal views about the design of the logo itself, but I am concerned about the cost. I joined the RYA as a teenager in 1977, and I've been a member, I lapsed and have been a member now for the past 33 years, when I've paid around £1,000 in subscription. That means that I have paid for 1/13 of one letter of RYA. I think that's horrifying. When I asked how much the RYA had paid for the logo, I was told that it was an initial £40,000. Note the initial, which suggests there will be more expenditure. It's also expenditure that's being forced onto the associate affiliate organisations where they are using the branding and need to rebrand as well. The magazine editor wrote, "Our logo has an exciting new look, and the new logo reflects the RYA as a modern, open and accessible organisation." I believe that all members should be aware of the cost, and I'm pleased that we have heard openness mentioned, that the organisation is open. So I'm glad to draw it to members' attention, £40,000 on the logo. My questions are, how are 3 plain black letters supposed to be exciting, particularly when compared with the previous logo, and how do they affect accessibility? I see nothing there at all. The change of font and colour could be achieved with any word processing system. But I'm told that we had to employ consultants, an outside agency, to do this. Would £40,000 have been better spent on some basic IT training within house? Is the new logo really of any use, or should it be quietly dropped and we just revert to what we had before? Was £40,000 a good use? It's equivalent to 800 members' subscriptions at the current rate. Was it a good use of money? Or is it simply a pointless, unnecessary vanity project that has shown a lack of common sense and skills within the organisation? Thank you, ma'am.
I'm not getting involved in this one.
Thank you for your observations. I think the matter of logos and brands in any sector are always emotive. Some people like them, some people don't like them, some people come to like them, some people never like them. I think it's simplistic to say that the rebranding was just about 3 letters. It's actually very much around the look, the feel, the colours, the tone of voice that's used, the accessibility of the font. We did a lot of work to understand how do we get the most accessible font so that it's easy to read for people with learning difficulties. So there's a lot that goes behind it. The old brand was 35 years old. Actually being red, white and blue and angular, independent research showed that that's not very accessible. It doesn't feel very inclusive to the whole country. So like all good organisations, every now and then it is important to refresh, and building the strategy and how that was all about accessibility and openness. It was right that a new brand followed. I'm sorry you don't like it, and I'm sorry you think that perhaps the money could have been better spent. I am pleased to say that overwhelmingly people have embraced it and think it is a new, modern, fresh feel.
Yes, I do. All right. Anything else from the floor? Very good. Well, thank you for that. And thank you very much for being here today. And again, for the questions from the floor. AGMs are for that, so that's what we do. And we're delighted that you'll be part of it. So that officially concludes our AGM. So thank you.
I believe that for the benefit of those in the theatre, I can confirm that
There's something in all of us that's looking to the horizon. A voice that says, go on, get out there. Make the most of the world around you. Find out what you're capable of. Go as far as you can, and then come back home again, brimming with all the things you've seen and done and felt and found. Out here on the water, you can find what you're looking for. The right place, the right time, with great people around you. With the sea, the sun, the sky, and sometimes a bit of rain, the feeling of the flow, the rush of the waves, and it belongs to all of us. At the RYA, we live to bring more people onto the water, to make them and you feel confident, inspired, and welcome in our amazing community. We've got the knowledge and connections We'll help you learn and gain the skills you need, and we're here for you wherever you are on your journey. We're ready. The water's open, so let's go together. RYA, together on the water.